Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to share our tips and tricks for caring for our cockatiels. Alright, so what we first want to start off saying is we are by no means experts.
Nope.
We've had our birds for about a year. My sister has had hers for about 2 years. So we feel pretty comfortable in kind of our routines of caring for our birds, but obviously it varies greatly depending on what type of bird you have, and also just kind of what works best for you and your bird. So we're not experts. Always consult an expert.
Yes, which is what we did. So,
Yes.
but consult multiple experts because you'll learn a lot.
And research so much before you even consider getting a bird, because you may think that they're beautiful and they're cute and they'll make awesome pets, and they totally do, but a lot of knowledge goes into caring for these guys to make sure that they're happy and live their best lives.
Yes.
So the first thing that we want to talk about, like I said, we are not experts, but you should find an expert. We have been so fortunate that there is a local person near us that breeds the birds and sells them. She also rescues and kind of rehabilitation. The biggest angel I've ever met in my life. I truly would not be able to own birds without having her and having her as that resource, because anytime we have ever had questions, even if it's just what does this behavior mean, do you have tips about this, what can I do, what do you recommend?
And you know, she cares a lot too, because she actually sets up appointments with the vet where he comes to her house, and then we just bring all of our birds over there. So there's like 50 of us, so it makes it easier for everybody to just make an appointment over a 3-day period, instead of she keeps in contact with people and she goes, hey, just a reminder, we have another appointment coming up with Dr. So-and-so, get your bird here. And that pushes people to get annual checkups, which is very important for birds.
Yeah, and they actually do 6 months every 6 months.
6 months, yeah, so it's...
But just the resource, it's just been amazing. There's been quite a few times where our birds have broken their wing feathers whenever they're growing in and there's still blood flow, and with those you have to get those pulled, because it's like a straw, like a broken straw. It'll just keep coming out and you have to get it pulled. Well,
now it might clot, but there's potential that it won't.
It's dangerous, and so you have to get those pulled. And I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've called this woman at 10 o'clock at night, just crying, just being like, please, can I come over? And not once has she told me no. She has been there for us since day one, and I know this is like a promo video for her, but she deserves it, because she truly has helped us so much. So that's my biggest piece of advice with owning birds, is find someone, even if you don't have kind of the situation that we have and you have to go more through like a store than a like local breeder, try and find someone that has a bunch of knowledge with these birds. You agree? And a bunch of knowledge, and just is able to help you out. But so that's our first piece of advice. But do you want to talk
and
more?
That's the most important piece, is talk to experts and learn from them, because everything we're going to tell you today, we have learned from an expert, we have picked up from somebody. So this is just how we take care of our birds.
So you want to talk about their cage a little bit?
Yes. So the cage that I keep Cooper in by himself, as far as like cage space goes, it's about 2.5 foot high and then 2 foot by 2 foot. So that's just the cage size that we do. It's the perfect size for him. It's not too big, and it's definitely not too little, I don't think. But sometimes with these guys, bigger is not better. Because usually the bigger cages that are made, the bars are spaced out more. And for these guys, you know, their feet, that is their livelihood. They do everything with their feet. And their beak. Their beak is also another, you know, it's kind of like another foot form. It's like their hand. So if the bars are more than 1 inch apart, there's a chance that they can't reach the next bar, and then they'll fall off. And another thing to understand about cockatiels is they are incredibly fragile. Like, these birds can get hurt and they can die, I mean, pretty easily, really. You know, like, they're very fragile.
Yeah, all of that is true, but another main reason that you want the bars closer together, you don't want bars bigger than any part of their body could fit through. So if their head can go through the bars, don't even think about it. The more room they have to fly and to walk and to climb, the better. But again, you want to make sure that it's appropriately sized, because these guys aren't a like massive parrot, you know, they are pretty small and they want that room, but you have to make sure it's a safe amount of room. And
then kind of on that same thing, as far as like clipping their wings goes, we choose to clip our birds' wings. We've gone in the past where we've gone, you know, the first 6 months I had Cooper, I didn't want his wings clipped, and then it started to become a hazard where he was almost hurting himself what seemed like daily. So if you can make it work without clipping their wings, by all means, let them fly. You know, that's great, but if not, then it's okay. Clipping wings is okay. It's not this torturous thing. They get around their cage just fine.
We do clip wings, but a big part of that is they are in the same room as all of our reptiles, and birds cannot see glass, and so they can fly directly into it. And Cooper especially would just do laps around this room because he didn't want us to grab him and like hold him or anything. He wanted to do his own thing, but to the point of where if he hit one of these cages, I mean, he would have knocked himself out of the world. So
and you gotta understand too, safety. With cockatiels, you give them an inch, they're gonna try to take a mile. I mean, these guys don't understand that, like, oh, here's the restriction I put on you. They're gonna constantly try to push it because that's just their inquisitive nature. This is what they were born to do. I mean, they're just these little creatures that just want to get into every little thing they can. And that's why we love them. I'll let you talk about the diet.
Okay.
Because you order it for me, so.
So this again came from we call her a bird lady, but very lovingly. But this is what she feeds her cockatiels, and so we took that to heart and we use it for ours. It's the Zupreme Smart Selects or Smart Seed. We'll put a picture of it up here so you know what it looks like. We do about 60% of their food dish of that, and then the other 40% is Pure Fun, and that's more like just getting them introduced to different dried fruits and vegetables and all this. The diet is one of those things that can vary greatly for what works for you and your bird.
Yes.
In the future, I'd love to do a more like we prepare a fresh diet of fresh fruits and vegetables. We still introduce those to them now, but it's just a lot of time, and right now we don't necessarily have this. And they love their seed. Seed is crucial in their diet, and so what we feed them works really well for them. With my sister's birds, they actually got overweight off of that diet, so it just proves that not everything that works for something will work for you, or someone will work for you too. So she had to actually introduce more pellet into her bird's diet because the seed was causing them to gain too much weight. But as far as these two go, the seed and the Pure Fun has worked really well. Like I said, they get checkups every 6 months and their weight has been right on target.
Yeah,
so.
and they're, I want to say they hover 80 to 90 grams, and her sister's birds are they're big birds. So it's different for every bird, so you got to kind of like play with it too. And whatever, if your vet tells you have a happy, healthy bird, keep doing what you're doing, and only change if you absolutely have to.
As far as treats go, we give them treat sticks that we find at a wholesale bird store near us. They love munching on those. It's basically just seed cemented to a treat stick, but it's more fatty seeds. It's the way that they're not given on a daily schedule just because it would fatten them up too much.
Right.
And besides the treat sticks, we also give them millet. Cooper would kill us for some millet.
Millet is cockatiel crack. I mean, they go nuts for it, and that's what a lot of people like. If you want to train your bird, like if I spin millet in a circle, Cooper will run in a circle to get the millet. So like that's how you can train is because they love millet, and we do that stuff. I mean, maybe twice a month it seems like is kind of what we do typically.
Right.
So I mean, we just like to treat them every now and then because they're just sweet little birdies.
And also fresh fruit is a big treat for them. I know Cooper doesn't love it. Louie's warming up to it. But like I said, they're so seed oriented that they eat seed over anything every day.
A lot of the fruit oriented stuff kind of comes from the fact that, you know, every time Megan eats, she'll try to put that stuff in Louie's face. I don't really do that to Cooper, so that's when you work with your bird, you might get them onto a fresh diet. But now, understand, if you get your bird on a fresh diet, that's a lot of time and a lot of effort on your end, extra effort to do it. So that's just something to consider when you do that, and I think we're prepared to do that eventually one day.
And it's very, do your research on that for sure, because it's very incremental leading into that. You can't just switch it because they will not eat at all, because especially these birds, they like their food very, very small. They don't like big pieces, and so they can get scared of some things, and then just like that, and then they won't want to eat it. So make sure you do your research on the fresh fruit. Speaking of us having that bond, all of that comes from spending time together, which to me is the most crucial part about owning birds.
And on the time spent thing is, you know, if you want an animal that's just like pretty to look at, I definitely wouldn't get a cockatiel, because if they're not interacted with, and especially if they're by themselves,
any bird at all.
Yeah, any bird. They'll turn mean. And
birds are very, very, very social. And so if you want to have them in captivity, which is owning them as a pet, you have to feed those social needs, especially if you only have a single bird, but even if you have pairs. Because if we were to leave Louie and Cooper in the cage by themselves, they'd bond to each other and want nothing to do with us. So we make it a very, very important part of our day to spend at least 2 hours with them.
Yeah, and being honest, 2 hours is like minimum. That's the bare minimum that I think we've done on a day-to-day basis. Now I'm sure like if there's a day where you get home from work and you feel sick and you go straight to bed, and then the next day, you know, you play with them, they're not going to hate you. But I mean, for her, I know for her, just because of her schedule, she on some days can spend up to 6 or 7 hours in the same room with her bird, you know, like activity wise. And for me, I can typically on a normal day be with Cooper for 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. You know, some nights it's 2, but we definitely think that 2 is the absolute minimum because you gotta get them out. And it's also, to me, it's very important that when you get them out, don't just smother them. You gotta let the bird be a bird. You gotta let them decide if they want to be held. They're gonna let you know they want to be held. If they want to fly around and play and you know, forage, let them do that, because that's just them being a bird. So to me, that was one of the hard things I had trying to figure out when I first got Cooper, was like, what's too much holding time, you know, what's too much out of the cage time, what's this, what's that. But now we're to the point where he knows how to get out of his cage. I'll leave the doors open, he'll get out, he'll go back in for food, they'll come back out when they please. So I think one thing, like another thing for me that's really important is just options, giving your birds a lot of options, because, and that's what I try to do for all my reptiles too, is give them options, because that makes them the most happy.
And it does not have to be like hours of you just sitting here like face to face like, I love you, oh good boy, because I mean no one wants to do that. I mean you could, but it's not realistic. But it's just putting them in part of your daily schedule. So a lot of times Cooper's on Nick's shoulders while he's cleaning the reptile tanks, or I'll have Louie on my shoulder while I'm making food and
doing homework.
Yeah, homework's a big one. But just making them part of your routine. Louie and I even go to showers together. Like, do everything you can with your bird, because that just solidifies that you are with them, you're part of them, you're besties.
We bathe our birds like no more than once a week would be too much.
So they're naturally dusty birds, and so when you give them regular baths, you take away all that dust, and then their skin can become like really dry, really brittle, really painful for them, because they don't have that dust buildup. So that's why you don't want to bathe more than like once a week at max. But really, like, I go like 2 weeks without giving him a bath. Like, I kind of just judge it on, does he look dirty and does he smell bad, which some people would disagree with, I guess, but he doesn't particularly love the water, and so I'm not going to force him to do it just because I think he needs a bath, you know. Now,
one thing I've noticed, you know, when I'm walking around spraying all my tanks, if I spray Cooper, he likes it sometimes, and he'll just kind of like fluff around in it. So some people do that. I mean, there's so many ways to take care of these guys and to do it properly, and that's why we're just kind of on the board of like, as long as you figure out a way for your bird to be healthy and you to fit it into your schedule and make it work, then that's great. I mean, however you can make it work is probably the best way to take care of your bird, right?
As long as it's safe.
As long as it's safe.
But yeah, that's all we have. So hopefully you enjoyed some of our tips and tricks. I know this was kind of a longer video.
This is very long. I'll cut it up a little bit, but
but yeah, so we hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Like I said, we are not experts. This is just what works for us, what we've learned kind of over the like 1 to 2 years that we've had birds. They really are the best pets in my opinion. I love the bond. I mean, no one will love you like your bird loves you if you put in the time and effort into their care.
True.
So let us know in the comments if you guys have any other tips and tricks about birds. Let us know if you have cockatiels. We'd love to learn about that.
Or big birds. We love big birds too.
Yes, our dream is a red-fronted macaw, so especially if you have one of those.
Video. I'm kidding.
Stay tuned for that one. But yeah, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next vid.
Thank you guys.